And welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody. Yeah,
Really,
I would like
is
the
this week to
petition
play the
that we
Flutter
change
Con?
the opening music to the Humpty Dance by Digital Underground. Would that be a
Yeah,
possibility?
right. That copyright claims unbound when you do things like that.
How
Yeah,
much
we
would
gotta
it
be
pay
careful
for,
not to
cost
get
for us to
striked.
license that? How much would it cost?
More than we have in our budget. More.
Yeah, that's fair.
More
And
than
the
we
budget
have.
is zero.
Yeah, it's close to it. Yes, indeed.
I will
Greetings,
say that
everyone. Happy April 1st.
we actually have had an open call from Jay, one of the community members, Maya, who is a GDE in Netherlands, I believe still. He wrote the original music for Flutter Community, and he's offered to do some more music, some up-to-date music now. So
Cool.
we're probably going to get that done.
Excellent.
Just to let people know that the FlutterCon USA 2026 CFP is open still, and you can go and set up CFP at this very address.
Well, just open.
That's where those videos from, by the way. Those videos were captured from FlutterCon. So. But talking about conferences, we have a guest with us, Lukas. Hello.
Yes.
Hey, folks.
Yeah.
Been here a few times now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was thinking, since we've got Lukas here, was the FlutterCon really the intro we should have played like that?
Yeah.
I should have brought the fancy Flutter and Friends video with me next year.
Yeah. As long as it has like pounding music, that's the important part, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I think the FlutterCon video was probably from quite a few years ago too, right? I recognize some old.
That one's a mix of 2024 and 2025, I think, in that video.
Okay.
But that was the.
All right. Should I get started by telling people a little bit about Flutter and Friends?
Sure.
Yes.
Does anyone have my little slider? Oh yeah, it's popping up now, I guess.
It loads. There you go.
There we go.
Hey.
So I hope most of the people that are tuning into this show already know what Flutter and Friends is, but it's the friendliest Flutter conference there is. And also, this year, it will most likely be the biggest Flutter conference in Europe too. And this year, it will be from Thursday to Saturday. So there's a bit of a change from what we had previous years. And on the 3rd to the 5th of September. And we just opened up so you can get 2 tickets for the price of 1. And you don't have to pay now. You only register in there, and you'll get a link when you need to pay. So if you don't know if your company is going to pay yet, you can just go in there, sign up, and then bug your company to pay the tickets for you, and you can invite a friend too. That's super good. And the call for papers is open too on flutterfriends.dev/CFP. And for the ones that haven't heard of Flutter and Friends before, it's a 3-day conference with 2 tracks. And the first day is only about building the community and getting to know the community. So we do lots of different social activities. You can go to the arcade, go kayaking, go climbing, go play 3D games. Not 3D games, VR games. I mean, probably 3D games too. I don't know. And then the second day is the big conference day. And we have a really cool venue this year, which is an old theater. So you're sitting on this different levels. And yeah, it looks really amazing.
A different venue from the previous times that I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. So all of the other previous years, we've also been at a really great venue, but this one is next level. This is so good. And in the evening, we have a big party. And the party this year will be at the same venue. So you won't have to go anywhere. And it's up on this little mountains. You can see out over the whole of Stockholm. It's beautiful. And then after that, on the Saturday, it's a workshop day where you can go to workshops. If you're not too hungover, you can join early in the morning. That tends to be people dropping in around lunch. And then you do workshops all day. And then, either you stay in Stockholm and hang out with people, or you go home. And that's pretty much it.
I've been in Stockholm once, not for Flutter and Friends, but I've been to Stockholm. It's a beautiful city. Would love to go back someday. Very cool place.
And someday could be 3rd to the 5th of September.
I can't go to Europe twice, my man. That's the problem. Is like I can afford to make one European trip from where I live, and I can't do it twice, my man.
With the quality of your talks, maybe you could get a little bit of sponsorship from the Flutter and Friends. Yeah. Anyways, you all should come. It will be amazing. And like if you want to grab a ticket, like the best price you can possibly get is now when we have the 2-for-1 deal, because we're like literally going minus on all of those tickets that we sell. So just grab a 2-for-1 deal, and then you just split it with a friend.
I think the last time I was in Sweden, I ate minke whale. Delicious, absolutely delicious stuff. And my sister-in-law got mad at me for, you're eating minke whale, they're protected. I went, well, in the Pacific Northwest, yeah, but they actually don't even reach quota over there in Europe. So, but minke whale,
So
check it out.
My partner and I, when we travel, do like. Oh, go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say now I'm mad at him too, just like his sister.
but they're overabundant. They don't even get out their quota. They don't eat them. They don't eat them.
And the other thing I was going to say,
my partner and I, when we travel, we do a mix of like scheduled things and then just wandering around the city, because I feel like you don't really understand the city unless you like spend some time getting lost in it. And we did that in Stockholm, and some really, really cool stuff happened. I don't want to derail the show any further, but it was a cool experience for sure. But we did wander by, I don't know if it was an actual IKEA or just like an IKEA office, but we found an IKEA sign. And so we got a selfie of us in front of the IKEA sign in Sweden, because it's like, you have to. So
the home turn.
If you haven't seen the 1st of April joke that Daria put up on our socials today, it involves IKEA. Go in and check our socials. It's pretty funny. IKEA and Flutter State Management. It's great.
And that's a great segue, because you know how IKEA furniture is made from individual components that you all bolt together, kind of like Flutter is made from individual widgets that you bolt together into something bigger, which brings us to today's show. Simon, how do you like that, my man?
Mind
Good
blown.
job.
What an overlap.
Love it.
Anything else?
Well,
about,
I'm going to say goodbye and go drink more beer in the sun with my friends while the sun is still up. But have a great show, folks.
Yeah,
I hope to see you all at Flutter and Friends.
Thanks for stopping
Ciao.
by.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
yes, thank you for coming, Lucas.
Yeah.
I got this. I was trying to dig this out. This is what he was just talking about. Let's see if this comes up on stream. Hang on. Right.
Okay.
That's right, button.
Oh no. IKEA. I like that.
That was his name.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Same name, Marin on the update. Registered extra screws. No idea where they go. Unit tests sold separately.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. That's amazing.
Cool.
That is
Friends.
amazing.
Nice. State.
I love that.
Flat
12
pack
widgets,
state management system.
one state fragile, streams, context, screws, Allen key.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, the buddy lifting is pretty good.
Call support.
IKEA overflow.
Yes, nice. Nice. Well
Support
done.
is open for 2 hours every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I think
Yeah, early.
Did have anyone actually seen any good April 1st? Like,
It's still early.
Today.
The day is
So-
still young.
well,
They'll
for
give it time.
America. Yeah, in America.
Yes.
Linus Tech Tips put out a we're starting our own cryptocurrency April Fool's joke, which was amazing. So
Nice.
Or is it?
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's hard to tell anymore whether anything's parody or real. It's we're definitely in a surreal world.
I have seen those things where certain companies, they actually do really something like it's like an idea they had, but it was like they weren't sure it was going to sell. So they stick out April 1st so they can record it and say, no, it was just a joke. you know, or if it picks up and we're interested, like, no, we're going to make this, you know, or whatever. So
We should probably do intros and rules and junk.
oh yeah, we got to do all that intro stuff still.
Yeah. Sorry for keeping us on track, but
All right.
Is there anyone in chat who doesn't know who we are? That's the question. No. I'm kidding.
yeah,
We should,
really. Where have you been? What rock have you just crawled out from under?
We do it for the new people that are set up. So
yeah, let's do it.
Let's jump straight into it. My name is Simon Lightfoot, Flutter Community Leader, CTO at Dev Angels London, and you can follow me on Twitter and other places at Dev Angels London. Randall.
I'm Randall Schwartz. I am a Google developer expert in the area of Dart and Flutter, which means I get to answer lots of y'all's questions on various social platforms, and I also speak virtually at conferences and things like that. But for this show, I am the question magician, which means I am watching the live chat. And if I see something that starts Q:, I presume it is a question for the panel here. I will flag it and we'll take it in the order received. If you give the same question again later, we take you out of the queue and put you later in the queue. So don't do that. You just lose your place. So that's my job today. Danielle?
I'm Danielle Cox. I'm one of the organizers of a group called the Flutteristas. We're female and non-binary folk that have a shared love for Flutter. So if that sounds like you out there, anybody, hit me up and we can definitely make that happen. And the rest of the time, I lead a very small team of Flutter developers at a startup called Artly. Cool. And John's not here today, as you can tell from earlier. So Matthew.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I'm Matthew Jones. I'm a senior innovation engineer for a large financial institution where we innovatively innovate fancy innovations. That's like my mouthful that I give to everybody.
You're
but
breaking
my
up.
real thing is I
up.
have a YouTube channel that I've been working on for months that I'm super excited about.
Are you plugged in on Ethernet? Do you have good Wi-Fi?
Am I breaking up?
You were. Right when you introduce yourself, you just don't wait.
Oh, I'm Matthew. Hi, everyone. There you go. That's my alternate innovation. Innovation. God.
Introduction, yes.
Alternate introduction. But yeah, check out my YouTube channel, guys. That's what you need to know.
Matthew, I was going to say, going to Europe twice shouldn't be a big problem because think of all the free publicity your company gets when you go and speak.
Yeah.
See, that's the crazy thing.
Want you to mention their name.
Refuses to let me talk about where I work publicly. So it's like the sheer number of times that my company could get plugged like publicly with all the stuff that I do is insane. But they're like, no, anything you do has to be approved by the marketing department. So it's just me.
Yeah, I was making that joke. So
I know. I gotcha. But
and the gist slide, I guess, is next. No, the rules. I guess if you want me to read the rules.
I mean, we can do the rules if you like.
I can do the quick version of it, which is be nice, no adult stuff, no promotion, no URLs in the chat because nobody will see them. Don't post the same thing again and again. We do have ban hammers. We will use them if we need to, but luckily we haven't had to in a long time. But do have a good time. We enjoy sharing the information we have, so hopefully you're having a good time listening to it as well. There we go.
Have a good time. And for those that don't know already, if you want to post and share code with us, then you need to go to gist.new, pop in the description, make sure the file name's named .dart so we get that lovely syntax island, and pop in your code or comments, whatever it is, and publish that. And then what we do is you copy the hash from the gist and pop that in your chat message. If you put any chat message in with a link in, we do not get the entire message or nothing. So don't do that. Just the hash.
Just the hash. Just the hash, man. Yes.
We're all about that hash.
Yes.
Sega announced
all about that hash. About that hash. Yeah.
Well, you have to be hell with that references now.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Dragnet reference was way old, but still.
Oh God.
Yes.
I like that one.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yes. 3% more.
The comments are great. The total war. We made our
Yes.
comment 3% bigger. It's too blue. Sorry.
So I'm not gonna lie, I almost made my
Mhm.
headline React Native developer just because it was April Fool's Day, but then I'm like, no, the community has had enough of that. No.
Yeah.
Did anyone know this could service games before? I didn't even
I
know
did.
that.
Wow.
So I went down, Simon, this whole rabbit hole
I
of
know this
looking at
logo.
like super vintage arcade games. Like when people think vintage arcade, they think like 80s like arcade cabinets. There's stuff from way before that, right?
Oh,
And
yeah,
Sega
yeah,
was
yeah.
producing them way before that. So like they had this driving game that was like an actual conveyor belt. And like there were these things that kept going back and forth, and you had to like drive your car down it, and it was like all like real. It was like it was so cool. And yeah, so in one of those videos, it popped up and was like it was service games. So it's very cool.
I'm down the rabbit hole here. I can't share much of this stuff because someone else to check this out. Overthinking your side project. Take a projector.
Oh no.
Oh my God, my nephew,
Oh.
my niece
That
and
is
nephew
cool.
would. Oh, okay.
Cute.
Obviously,
They had me.
some AI going in there, but that was kind of good.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Anyway, we're here
Simon,
to answer
you'll
your
actually-
Dart and Flutter questions. Please start putting questions in precede them with Q : so that we have something to talk about besides April Fools.
Yes, please.
Yes,
So
please.
Simon, you'll appreciate this. This is actually for the current project. It is an arcade button, but I don't know if you can tell this or not. It looks like a coin op button. So this is like what the yeah. And so like to start the experience that I'm setting up, you'll just hit this, and it's very cool. Got it on my favorite website, AliExpress. Oh, okay. Yep. There.
There you go.
Everyone can
Sorry,
see
I
it
was saying pretty
hopefully
close.
a
I was
little bit.
muted.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Super excited about that. But
Cool.
I got that treatment last week. I can't remember what it was I was sharing, but I showed something from my phone, and yeah, I got the Simon put me on big screen. Yeah.
all of a sudden, I'm like, why is it just me on this stream? Oh my gosh, the pressure.
Yeah. Simon has the power. Simon can see that. I can
People are
probably
gonna
do
get
that.
me making like a weird expression and then like blow it up and like post it places. That'd be great.
Right. Cool. Let's see. What else is going on? We've got next coming up in a couple weeks, and that'll be a fun experience. I get to go. I'll be there for the GDE summit and next. I will not make it to IO though, unless some millionaire comes along and says, "Here's a pile of cash for you." But
I just
Amanda, what's next?
next.
Google Cloud Next.
Oh, you're joking now, aren't you? Next, it's
April Fool's.
the Google conference about cloud stuff mostly. Cloud this, cloud that. Not a lot of Flutter, but
Well,
Probably more than it'll be at IO.
I'm gonna say it might be more than you think.
yeah. Okay.
Since
right.
now Flutter comes under the Google Cloud banner. So,
Right. Yeah. There were 3 or 4 things that showed up in my planner that I marked off as being possibly Flutter related. So, yeah. Even had a category mobile and web. So I clicked on that and I signed up for everything that came up on that. Except there are 3 things across from each other. Look, a limited category, and you put 3 of the things across from each other. That's just stupid.
it's really hard to organize. Like if you got a multiple track conference, it's really hard to organize and not have any clashes of any like it's gonna happen, right? There's just like
I never expect no conflicts, but it is.
No, I know, but
I am
it is one of those
amused
things.
sometimes at the level of conflict that I have at some conferences. Yes, that means it's a good conference. If there's stuff that I'm fighting to go see, because
talking about conferences.
Yeah. Ooh.
So this is so officially the next one, I guess, would be FlutterConf Spain.
Ooh,
8 to 9. That's the 4th of June, MDev camp in Czech. And we have FlutterCon next at USA conference in Orlando. FlutterCon Latam. We got the European one, and then we've got Flutter and Friends 2026, which we just heard about, which you have got a date for now. This needs a PR.
Yep. Where's
But,
that page at? Is there a URL for that?
Yeah. I'll pop this in the chat.
Okay, cool.
Someone already has a PR.
And shout out to Kaylee out in the audience. Because of her, I now have I have a place to stay at IO this year, so that's always good.
So Randall, I do have a question. At the cloud conference, is there any hashing going on at the cloud conference?
Hashing. I know there's a joke here you're trying to get to, but I can't figure out what it is.
Never mind.
Yep. I don't get it. Sorry, that was too obscure even for me to get.
Has his sense of humor gone to pot?
It has gone to pot. Yes.
I'm not. I don't partake in such things. That's why I don't recognize the references. Sorry. All right. Yes. Never mind then. Never mind. Let's move on. If only we had some questions to answer.
Yeah, we have questions, people.
Don't forget. I also want to say in the intros that Danielle and I are co-hosts of the Tuesday show, the Flutter Community AI Circle show. And
I'm not.
No, not Danielle. Sorry. All right. What am I thinking? Steph, right.
Steph. I couldn't do what she does there. That's Steph's job.
Apparently, I'm not drinking enough caffeine this morning. I'll just shut up.
Well, hopefully she doesn't join and hear that. I mean, come on.
I know. I know
we all look alike.
No, it's just me. I'm sorry. And let's see, new version of
what happens on that show, Randall? Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, the yesterday's show was actually pretty cool. We did Jin is a fellow Flutter GDE has been working on being able to connect to local models. So being able to pull down something from Hugging Face and plug it directly in and use, nobody's token costs. It's all done actually on your device. So pretty cool stuff. Got that all working with Dart using FFI and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was a pretty cool show. Yeah, a good time. Yep.
You know what I just learned? There is a sports betting company called Flutter Entertainment. I'm not even kidding. They own like the major sports betting apps that you've all heard of that I'm not going to repeat their names.
Oh yeah.
Their logo, I kid you not, is a similar shade of blue.
Wow.
I'll be right back.
Is that the one that Dart keeps trying to buy? I have a hit on Google for Dart and Flutter, and it's for recently. There's a guy named Dart who's really rich, who's been buying the Flutter properties. So I keep seeing these headlines: Dart buys another 6 million shares of Flutter, and I'm going, really? That can't even make sense. Yeah. So I get Flutter hits now all the time in the news. So it's from that I know that Flutter is a big sports betting company, and this guy William Dart, I think it is made tons of money off of some random thing that his parents came up with, and so he's got inherited money, and he's buying Flutter. Dart is buying Flutter. That's the headlines.
Here's a board game I've got too.
Oh, dope.
Cool.
Very cool. Have you played it yet?
I have not. But I had to own it once I saw it.
Free has a great comment. I got approached by someone in New York when I was wearing the shirt. Hey, I invested in that. Can you tell me what it is? Oh, nice. Yes. We don't have any Dart and Flutter questions. People are working on stuff. I see stuff on Stack Overflow and Discord all the time. Although admittedly in the last probably year, I've been answering fewer questions. I think it's because everybody's just immediately reaching for AI for everything now.
That
And AI
actually
can't completely
is,
replace us, but it does a pretty good job of about 80% of what we do.
I think most people's questions, they're just going to an LLM at this point, which is fine,
Right.
but also, you know, not awesome in other ways. But
I don't have to
it's-
auto. I don't have to autocomplete. I'm already complete.
There you
go. Say-
oh,
I was going to say, it's no replacement for Simon GPT. I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. There's that. There's that. Yes, and his handy sidekick.
So if you're wanting to start like a new app, let's say,
Mhm.
what are you using to come up with like a design for it? Using Stitch, using something else?
Stitch
Nothing?
is a good start.
I'd probably start with Stitch
Yeah.
for a design, for like visual design.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can just plan out and design documents and requirements, as it were. Using any AI chat basically, just come up with your design document. Always, I think it's very clear to me from practice that having that good design document before using AI to generate something is always key.
Right.
It gives it. It's the same as like if you ask a developer to do something, give them something vague. That person would be like, they do it the way that they think they want you to do it, or they want to do whatever it is. But basically, it's that kind of same thing of like you've just try and read someone's mind, and basically they come back, that's not what I wanted, and it's like, well, that's what you asked for. And it's like, well, that's why you write requirements. That's why you write the specifications so that you get rid of those unknowns and those ambiguities from what is wanted, basically. And it also means you can come up with any of those use cases which are like unknown until you actually start planning, right? So it's like, oh, I didn't think someone would use it in that way, or I could press that one before that button, and this weird thing would happen, right? Yeah.
so I'm going to give a different answer, and everyone's going to lose their minds when I tell you how I design stuff for like personal projects. Canva. I'm not even kidding. I go into Canva and I design it in Canva first, and then I export the images from Canva, and then I feed them into Cursor, and then I look at the code that Cursor writes, which is always bad on the first round, and then I keep telling Cursor how to refactor it until I'm happy with it. That's my whole process.
I mean, it's what you're saying there is basically very similar to what people do with Stitch, right? So
Yeah.
Mhm.
we want Stitch and saying, make this thing for me. It gives them some images and then plug those into whatever AI and say, make this for me, right? But it's definitely. So I don't think. I mean, I was looking into that, Richard. I don't think they do that just yet. That's can Stitch import Figma components. So I think there was some sort of import export thing that they were doing. I can't remember if it was going to work.
You can definitely export to Figma because I know that's one of the outputs of it, but I'm not sure if it imports Figma at this point. I imagine it should. Probably eventually on the roadmap. I'm just guessing it's going to be on the roadmap because that's going to be an important thing for people to migrate to Stitch. Yeah.
Simon, do you have like a confetti special effect that you can put up on the screen that is like a celebratory thing? Because we just got a question in chat, and I feel like we should have like a ta-da, like big moment because someone actually asked a question.
We do have a question. So we have applause though, so we could put the question up in a big applause. Let's try that. Here we go. Applause. Yay! Free. Oh, the anticipation. When using a monorepo, Nomilos, is there a way to run all tests in one Flutter test command? It works for Flutter Analyze, but not for Flutter Test. I don't know.
I haven't even tried it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had a problem with that.
Huh.
You run the tests from each project.
But this is the pub workspace, the new feature. Does it work with that new feature?
Oh,
Maybe.
not Meadows. Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Pub Workspace did it for anything.
Right.
So I think the only reason Analyze probably does it is because now all the dependencies are linked. So it probably just has to because it's one tree now.
Well, we got this from Kali. Might be a setup issue.
Maybe.
So it might be that it's a configuration thing. You're missing something to do the pub configuration at the top level. Because I know that the new workspace stuff has some sort of workspace config file. I forget where it's at.
Okay. Stitch has changed a lot since I last opened it.
Yeah, Stitches come to V2 like last week, so it's all different now. It's got different imports, export. Yes,
yeah, I tried something with it over the weekend. I was pretty happy with what I came up with.
Yeah, it now is a lot more interactive in that you can talk to it and it can work interactively with you while you're talking to it. You can also highlight areas on the Stitch and go, I want this to be that, and it figures that out with the LLM. So definitely much smarter LLM backed these days. And I think it exports better, and I think the MCP is better now, apparently, because I saw in the last week or two a lot of anti-gravity plus Stitch videos. And I can always tell when something's changed in the Google universe because 400 videos show up on YouTube. So everybody gets the same exact video. So it's like I didn't learn anything from sitting through 11 hours of videos because it was always the same thing. Well, you plug this MCP in here. Well, yeah, I know that. I've already done that.
Yeah, it looks like you're back to letting you, for example, export to Figma again. I don't know about importing, but I,
Yeah, that's why I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah. And then the other thing it did that it hadn't done for me when I tried it before is it actually did create me like a design, actually, with the coherent, cohesive like colors and stuff like that. And before, it's not quite seemed to be quite as solid on that when I've done it. So this time it actually just created me a design up front, and it stuck to it pretty well. I thought it was good.
Cool.
I will tell you, I am so spoiled by Nana Banana at this point. Like, seriously. I had to use something different recently. Sorry, I don't know why I can't talk today, guys. I had to use something different recently for long story. I don't want to get into it. But like Nana Banana generally gets text right now. Like, that's the thing. I would say 9.5 times out of 10, the text is right. And so I used another model, and like it was using all kinds of crazy symbols for the text and doing like weird stuff. And I'm like, I did not realize how spoiled I was by having an LLM that could just like make the text right in the image on the first try. It was insane.
Is it getting the right number of fingers now?
Oh yeah. It is.
Good. I haven't done anything that would have gotten close to that lately, but yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
It worked. I did an export and I've managed to get a layout in Figma and just copy pasted. It did it. I'm like really surprised. Pretty helpful.
You could have shown that on screen, and then we would have had some actual content for this show.
Yeah.
But no, he talks about it. Here's how I performed well.
Here's how I did it. I did export and paste.
Yeah. Boy, that's really vivid streaming, man. That's good. This is gonna go down in history as something that went down in history.
It's not sorry, it'd be really hard to share this right now.
Okay.
But it's not made a stretchable one.
Oh.
No constraints. It's just like applied the layouts. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the problem with these layout things, these design things, is you have to have it inherently understand resizability. And I don't think they do a very good job of that.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, this is I mean, it gives me a picture. Let me maybe this is I'm running let me make sure I'm running the latest version.
Just keep describing it out loud. Narrate what you're doing. Yes,
No,
that's fine.
I can do it in a minute. Hang on. was going to do some live coding anyway. So.
It's good TV.
We got any questions?
No. Well, there's one more. There's one. Okay, we can do that. Shri asks, how do I speed up FFI for small functions? You don't, because there's just an overhead in getting over into FFI land, right?
Yep.
And if a small function, too bad. You make bigger functions, then it won't be so noticeable.
Make a bigger external function that calls all the small functions.
Yeah.
Then call that FFI.
Yes.
That's literally what you do.
Yep. Yep. And Richard actually has a comment on what I'm doing here. She should be able to import and export a design.md file. Well, that's
it exported it for me. That's what I was saying. I really like that. That seemed new to me. I don't know how long it's been doing it.
Yeah, that's new. And then you hand that to your builder of choice, whatever it is, like anti-gravity. Let's see what else is going on in the world. We did this one.
Amazing. I'm muted. I've been like talking for like the last 3 minutes, and I'm just like completely muted. I'm like the Zoom meme. Have any of you messed? Oh, go ahead. Let's answer Shree's question.
Okay. Yes. All right. First question, Skip. So, is leaf calls good with FFI? Leaf calls to leaf. Leaf call.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. Please explain in longer words. Yes.
Have any of you experimented with using Git work trees to fire off multiple agents simultaneously?
I'm afraid to try that because I think my credits will just go much faster.
That is exactly what happened to me when I did it. But I've been doing it at work because they pay for the credits at work. And my boss was like, "How did you manage to go through all of your AI credits in 2 days?" But it's actually super powerful because you can, particularly if you have like things where you can get the agents working on different areas of the code base. It's super useful because you can move a lot faster. So I've been enjoying it. Shri says leaf functions for optimization with FFI.
I still don't know what a leaf function is.
I don't know what a leaf function is, and at this point, I'm afraid to ask. That's
yes. Otherwise, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
No. While we're figuring that out, Matthew also one of the comments is
linear interpolated asynchronous function. Yeah, that's what it sounds.
No. Yeah. Right. No. And
go on. Sorry, Danielle.
So I just went into Google and I typed in what is a leaf function to learn. And the AI helpfully says leaves are the primary food producing organs of plants.
So it's a function of leaves.
Well, I mean,
I know it's not wrong.
Trees,
it's not wrong. Here.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what, like, it isn't okay. I mean, you can guess what that is when you talk about tree, right? It's a function that just does something, but then, great.
Yeah, I suppose if you can get away with it, yeah.
I mean, okay.
And then he continues, right? They're faster than standard calls because they bypass the heavier. Well, sure. If you can use a leaf function, then go faster, right? Cool.
I mean, honestly, I'm not sure what you're talking about here, Shireen. Honestly.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't bypass the Dart to native calling sequence if you're calling it using FFI from Dart.
Right.
So.
Yes. Hard to tell what you're going for.
It looks like fundamentally a leaf function is a function that does not call any other functions.
Yeah. Well, no, I got that from its name, right? But the point here, like you have a good example of this, like is numeric, right? Is a character a numeric character, right? It's like returns, if it's greater equal to 0 less than 9, return true, right? I mean, there's a leaf function, right? But it's like, but why would I put that in FFI in the first place, right?
Just, we're off in the weeds here somewhere. Yeah, I suppose, if you know how to do it.
You say, look, I may have learned something new, look here. So enable leaf optimization. So there's an expectation here. Okay, that's interesting. Let's have a look. Let's go look at the Dart SDK. We should eat our words. Yep. So let's bring this up. Let's all learn something new. We're learning together.
I'm actually excited. This is something I'm not familiar with.
Let's get rid of that.
Extension on dynamic library.
So yeah, so for those that don't know, when you use FFI, you use the dynamic library to load either the current executable and add and find its functions, or some library like, I don't know, libjpeg.si or whatever, right? And once you have your dynamic library instance, you can then use lookup function, or in this case, lookup or lookup function to actually call in and find the function by its symbol name. This is how a program or library exports itself, and it interprets it as a certain type of native set of parameters, which is one half of this, which is this half, and then the Dart side of it, this half. So this is how it interprets the two sets of function prototype, right? So this might be your native function. This is how you declare it inside of Dart. And then when you have this add here, this is now a function. It follows the same paradigm, the same calling convention here. So it's a function, takes 2 integers and returns an integer. Now here's the bit that we're just looking at. Is leaf specified that the function is a leaf function. Leaf function is small, short, running, non-blocking functions that are not allowed to call back into Dart or use any Dart VM APIs. Leaf functions are invoked bypassing some of the heavier parts of the standard Dart native calling convention to reduce the invocation overhead, making leaf calls faster than non-leaf calls. However, this implies that a thread executing a leaf function can't cooperate with the Dart runtime. A long-running or blocking leaf will delay any operation which requires synchronization between all threads associated with an isolate group until the leaf function returns. For example, if one isolate is in a group of trying to perform a GC, the second isolate is blocked in the leaf call, the first isolate will have to pause and wait until the leaf call returns. Yeah, okay. I mean, to be honest, most of your functions are going to be this, right? Nothing you need to do. Most of your external libraries aren't going to be doing anything with Dart runtime. So most of your time, you probably default that to true, I'd say. So basically, what they're doing is they're not setting up the thread local storage or whatever it is for the current thread to know about the Dart runtime environment, and therefore it avoids having to do that, basically.
So help me understand. Are they saying that we want to spin off our leaf functions in their own isolate, though, to prevent them?
No. Okay, so the way it is, okay. So there's a website. It's a website I wish I could go to now, and I forgot the name of it. Anyway, okay. So when a thread is run, right? When you have it, that's not really accurate. Okay, your CPU just runs instructions, right? One after another. So let's go back to it. So your CPU runs one instruction after another, add, remove, delete, or whatever, right? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, add, subtract, remove, whatever it is. Now, the point of what they're saying here is that if that set of instructions that's now going to process in this function that you're calling requires the Dart runtime environment, then it would have to do a bit more setup for that to work, right? However, if you put this leaf set to true, that function you're calling cannot call the Dart runtime environment.
So this would be like a fire and forget. We're not expecting that function to return anything.
No, it will return. No, it expects to be returned. So okay. Let me give you an example. You have a native function that has registered you've got some native function, native code that is linked to the Dart runtime environment because it stores a variable there, so you can access it from your Dart code or a string or a table or something, right? The problem is if you run that native function, it has to have access to the Dart runtime environment to access that data, right? It needs to know if a GC is running and to not let GC run, right? It needs to enter, exit isolate, whatever it is. It needs to be able to call the Dart APIs. Now, most functions that you're calling, if an external library, they've got nothing to do with Dart. They don't care about Dart. They're leaf functions, right? That's what it's saying here. That's just what it's saying is it doesn't return back at any point. It's a leaf. It's just a name they're giving it, right?
So it doesn't have access to the Dart runtime environment, basically. Got it.
Yeah, Shree's got some
and
follow-ups
stuff
here
in it.
too. So when you're ready for that. So Shree's follow-up here is as I develop Nitro issues using zero copy memory for faster transferring. What's your view on the current limitation for developing native packages with Flutter and Dart? Well, it works, right?
Okay, hang on a minute. As I developed Nitro, that's your package. That's a package, right?
Oh, no.
Right. I just remember we talked about that. Sorry. I'm gonna look that up because I've completely forgotten. Yeah. I remember this. Yeah. Looked at this before. Yeah. But I've got these issues like making zero copy memory for faster transferring of data. What's your view on current limitations for developing native packages with Flutter and Dart? I'm not sure there's a question here exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. How best to? By the way, I looked at your measurements on your README file are incorrect. By the way, you're measuring in a time domain that doesn't make sense. You're measuring milliseconds when you go 0 milliseconds on something. You need to be measuring in microseconds then, right? Sorry, just look to your README file on Nitro.
Okay.
You should be your call overhead or whatever it is that you've got there. Your overhead per call should be measured in microseconds, not milliseconds. Right? Anyway, so let me explain the zero copy thing for a second for people that don't understand what it's about. Okay, let's say you're playing audio from your app, right? And so it's a good example where why memory is a big thing inside computers, right? So first of all, your app loads like an MP3 decoder library or something, right? Let's say it's all done in software. I'm just going to make this simple right now, right? They normally involve hardware codecs. We're not going there, right? So the MP3 library is going to read a chunk of your file into a block of memory, right? It's then going to decompress that block of memory, decode it back into its raw wave format, essentially, right? It's a PCM, a pulse code modulated audio, right? Which is basically a set of amplitudes, right, over time, right? So the frequency that they play them back gives you the audio. Now, once you've got that buffer, now you're at the app level. Now that has to be handed to the operating system, right? And that buffer is not the same bit of memory, right? So there'll be memory that you read from the file. That has to be decompressed into another chunk of memory that's probably bigger. Now you have to take the bigger chunk of memory and hand it over to the operating system. Now that was done in Dart. Now that needs to be handed over to whatever the operating system. Now he has to make another copy of that memory, and then maybe some operating system function has to give it to the driver, and it makes another copy of that memory. And now I've got, let's say it was, 1 megabit of audio that 5 megabit audio that I'm trying to second that I'm trying to play back essentially.
You're now using 25 megabits of memory.
That, or 5 times that, right? So the idea of the zero copy memory is that if I'm transferring data around, instead of making a copy of the data, I'm giving you an address of the data, a reference to the data, and saying now it's yours. It's up to you to free that memory. It's not up to me to manage that memory anymore, right? So that's where the kind of zero copy memory comes in. And you can do, when you're writing C code, that kind of optimization comes in play, right? Because, for example, the decoding one, you actually, you'll find like a lot of files like MP3, the MP4, they give you how big, you can work out how big the maximum decompressed size is for a bit of compressed data, for example. That's the buffer you allocate, and you read in like you can read in like there's different buffering systems, but you can read it there into one buffer and actually have it expand into that same buffer. Different ways of doing that, right?
It's so funny. It's so funny you bring this up, Simon. My present peaker trap that I posted back at Christmas, I ran into this exact problem because I was recording video and then I had to do some transformations on it before I sent it off to Firebase. And I was running out of memory because, again, it was doing exactly what you're talking about. It was making duplicate after duplicate after duplicate. And so I had to basically do some stuff to pass around the reference and mutate it in place. So
Dart actually has an interesting part of the type data is it's when you do it between isolates. They've got what it's called now. They actually have a solution for this. Well, for that particular issue. I can't remember the name of it, which is really going to bug me. Although I did just find an interesting package. I just googled the wrong thing. I'll show you in a second. I'm pretty sure. It's escaped me. It's really good at bug me now. There's maybe it's in the. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong thing. I think it's in the Flutter documentation.
I will be right back, guys.
It's gonna bug me now. And I'm pretty sure Sheree's gonna know. There's a type of data which basically is like basically saying, it's the same thing. This is an object that I'm handing off to another isolate that can't be copied. Oh my god!
I know what you're saying. What is that? That's
it's like
look up sendport because it's going to be talking about it in sendport.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find.
Isolate.sendport.
I can share my. I guess I can share this screen. Digging around. I swear there was I swear there's documentation ahead somewhere about what data types.
Yeah, why isn't that there? That looks familiar, but it's missing some stuff.
Was it raw?
It's in the send documentation for when you use send.
Oh, the send function.
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go.
That's way too like down in the weeds.
It's where you use it, right? Which is send.
I mean, this doesn't have what I'm thinking right now. I know it's
transferable typed data.
Yeah, that's the yeah. Efficiently transferable sequence of bytes. Yeah, this is lovely name, but this is basically what it is, right? So this is basically saying the bytes that you put the type data that this is wrapped around becomes one with the where you transfer it around, basically. Not making sense here. Anyway, can we move to me? So sending it through a sample will only take a constant time. When sent this way, the local transferable can no longer be materialized, and then received objects now is the only way to materialize that data, right? So, in other words, once you've sent it over the isolate, it can no longer be used by the one that sent it, right? So you've handed it over, right? I did just find this. There's a type data package on Pub. As we know, that there's quite a few of these around, right? Which are packages that the Dart.dev and lab teams have like packages with the same name as the Dart ones, which extend the standard Dart functionality, right? This is kind of a common pattern. But they've got a type data one, and the type data one has some interesting, some standard sort of wrappers around, queues and buffers and things like that that will probably come in handy if you're doing if you do some native stuff, I'm sure.
This tree also suggests that that'd be the live coding that we did today. It's a native package with Nitro and CLI for easy to build native stack packages. Is that going to get done in an hour? I don't know.
Probably.
Speaking of hour, unfortunately, it's my time. I got to go.
Already? I
know.
Seriously, has it been an hour already? Holy smokes!
Yeah,
Danielle.
Right. So, see you all next week.
See ya.
See you next week.
All right.
And then
you sticking around? When do you have to leave, Matt?
I got another hour, so I can be out at. Yep.
Me too.
At work, someone tried to schedule a meeting over top of this, and I was like, no, I have it on my calendar. That is sacred time. You can't schedule over top of it. Nope.
You're on the welcome page now, so you got to be here every week.
Yeah, I'm on the welcome page.
That's it.
Can't skip out.
You're official now.
There is a Wednesday I won't be here actually while we're transitioning probably to live coding. I'll have to look it up, but I can't believe I'm going to admit this to the world. I'm a fan of professional wrestling, and so the missus and I are going to a professional wrestling show on that airs on Wednesday nights. So I'll be out of town.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Have a good time.
Yes.
AEW were the best wrestle. I feel like I broke Simon. I break a lot of people when I tell them that. It's like I don't look like what you would think of as a wrestling fan. But
Portland, Oregon was a big city for professional wrestling for many decades, so there was a lot of that around here. Yeah.
There's actually I remember when I was a kid, it was really WWF was really popular.
Yeah.
I don't watch WWF. I refuse.
WWE now because they couldn't have the World Wildlife Foundation after them.
So Simon, actually, that is an idea that I think we could do to level up the Wednesday show. First off, during intros,
you trying to tell me it's not exciting already?
We should all get our wrestler intros, right? And we should, and then we can start beefs with each other. Like I could be like, Simon, you used to be great. What happened to you, man? What's going on? You've dropped off. I'm gonna take your number one spot. And then you could be like, you'll always be in the shadow of me. And then we could have a big coding challenge, and then you can kick my butt.
Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday.
Yes. State server versus state server.
Yes. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only use the edge of it.
Well, that's got to be a real one, right? You must have heard that.
It is. I stole that one. That's a real promo thing.
Yoink.
All right. Anyway,
right. What are we doing?
I don't know. The tree's still posting a lot of things. I could go through them rather quickly, I guess. Let's see here. Well, first off, he finally came up with transferable type data, like we eventually got to.
Oh, good.
He's got.
He probably came to it before we did. Anyway.
Yeah. I think zero copy faster if it can be lazily read with some algorithm in place. I think you covered that.
Lazily read with some algorithm in place.
Yeah. And then he suspects using Nitro will be a quick live coding. Good luck on that.
I appreciate Sheree. It's not going to like be pumping up people's packages I don't know or used or yet really apart from showing it on. Not gonna
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Forgive God wants the coding challenge contest. Yeah. All right.
Okay, that would actually be fun. Is like who can burn through the most AI credits in an
Oh,
hour?
15 agents. You're out.
Fire off
You're-
6 agents simultaneously.
Oh, we do.
We
Actually,
did.
we have a question. If we really want to take a
Oh,
question.
we
for
do
it.
have a question from Richard.
Here from Richard. Any tips on how to connect C++ framework for audio apps to a Flutter front end that are already added to a web view option?
What
They
platform?
already added a web. So basically, you're saying Juice already has a web view option. That literally makes zero. Okay, I really need to understand what this is. It's a C++ or framework for audio apps. I'm assuming you mean like it's just like the back end, like there's no UI or anything, because like I'm very confused.
Yeah.
Okay, juce.com, great. Open source C++ application development framework. High performance plugins. All right, let's just share my screen. What's going on?
Just the answer. Hire Shree.
Yeah,
That'll solve it.
there is UI in C. Well, I'm not saying there isn't UI in C++. Sorry, I'm wondering if they've got UI, and then that's the thing. So this is going to hang on, see if we can make this happen. So this is the package we was talking about. Well, not the Shrees one, the other one. Anyway, Richard, sorry. There we go. Okay. I wouldn't care much about their web framework, to be honest. The question really is, okay,
Not in love with their pricing. I know that's not what we're talking about, but I'm not.
It's open source.
Pricing. You sure about that?
Yeah, it said open source C++ application development framework in big bold letters. Free.
What was the
Starters.
Yeah, okay.
Annual revenue.
Education. That's interesting. I guess this is about. It depends on what license they're going. I guess they're going under, right?
I just saw the $40 per user per month.
Okay, it's dual licensed under their commercial license under AGPL v3. So basically, it's use it for free for yourself or commercial. You pay them a license fee, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Which kind of sounds a bit
$40 pro, 175.
It's
If it's
not
educational, it's free.
I have to say though, I'm not like blown
Isn't
away. at the moment.
APL supposed to be unrestricted? It sounds like you can't really do that. And
It was dual license. You can do a dual license, right?
Right,
So here,
but
if
if it
you're
offers
not
it,
licensed to choose framework modules are under.
then I can make 1,000 users. I could have lots of money. If it's under the AGPL, there can't be any restrictions.
No, it's saying here, it's like basically saying that the modules are under. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. I find it. This is interesting though, right? So they're built on top of these dependencies, right? So OG Vorbis, blah 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 blah. I mean, I'm honestly, I look at this and go, well, like, I'm guessing have you got something that's built with this on top? It feels like this is like more about VSTs and processing, and like this is like mixer territory, isn't it? Like all those lovely plugins. Isn't like some screenshots or like some examples of what this is about?
You know what I would be tempted to do about licensing? I'd be tempted to clone down the repository, throw an LLM at it, and say, write your own custom version of this that I don't have to pay for.
Yep.
I think, Richard, are you trying to like basically use Flutter as the UI for this thing, and then everything else is just like theirs? So, because I can see that's what I would want to do in this situation. I'd be like, screw all this like weird UI crap that they're giving me. Yeah.
Yeah, Richard says yes, exactly.
Yeah, the problem, I mean, like you really got to go deep. Okay, so I'll give you some pointers, and I think we'll have to park it there because there's not enough time to really look into this, right? So
Yeah.
the way that any good stuff was built is it's modular, right? So I can tell you right now, any of the UI stuff is going to be modular against any of the other stuff. So plugins, for example, will not, might have their interface, but how it's implemented on the hood is something else. The problem with this is I'm trying to fucking bloody find there. I swear there was a GitHub link somewhere that I completely can't find anymore. Okay. Oh, here it is. Dope. I'm sure they had docs with all these things somewhere. Yeah, so like GUI basics, Juice graphics. Eventually, what you're probably doing is you're trying to replace this Juice graphics interface, right? Which is a bit more. You've got to untie it first, right? So that, if it's on Windows, then it's using Direct 3D. Mac, it's using this. iOS, it's using that. Cortex, so on and so forth. So this is their essentially their rendering engine. See path, edge, and everything else. So that I don't know enough about this library to really sort of dig through it, right? But effectively, this is the entire library you want to replace. However, obviously, all the interfaces that are used in here are going to be used, are going to be used within the rest of the code, right? So when, let's say, something in one of the plugins wants to use a color, it's going to ask to build one of these color units, or it's just a struct HSL. There's a various different color structures. I don't care anyway. But the point here being that you need to pick and choose what you need out of here. So you could leave all of this kind of generation stuff in there and just end up with, okay, when it comes to actually rendering it, and here's what I looked at here. Yeah, so here you've got your native stuff for Windows, your native stuff for Core, which will be for Mac, Mac, Windows. You could just replace this with the bit that renders with the Flutter engine.
So at that point, you'd just be forking it more than
yeah. Well, you don't need to necessarily fork everything, right? So this module here can probably be forked, and then when you just have a patch for your make or whatever, or you can, again, I guess you can fork it and then try and PR it back in and give an option to build with Flutter. But you're going heavy into the C and C++ territory here, right? What you're not doing is any actual Dart or Flutter code at this point, right? So I think there's a question here about, am I trying to just do the rendering of Juice with Flutter engine and have it cross-platform magic, right? Or which they've already got in here in effect, right? Or am I trying to load Juice graphics into my Flutter app? And that's different. So what's annoying though is that to render all this stuff in here, they use half bars, which, okay, when we're using Skier, I think they've switched away from it now, but this is another library that's inside of Flutter. So I think a lot of these dependencies are very similar. There's dependencies list somewhere, which I completely lost again.
Richard says, I was planning to have AI analyze their WebView UI and implement it in Flutter.
I mean, yes, and I'm going to say no. The right answer is to rewrite Juice it right.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I'm going. So the thing is, obviously, you need to look into how it actually. I'd ask you to analyze it and ask how it works. The problem I would say with that one is a lot of C++ code built for web is actually compiled into WASM and outputs to Amazon Web, which is not the same thing entirely. You can't do any of that with Flutter, right? So that's out of the picture. Obviously, compile Juice into its library or pre-compiled library or whatever, and access that. I would recommend, though, probably there's the realms in here of actually having it output to a texture. I'm sure they've got the ability to do something like that. See, Juice JavaScript. This is JavaScript interface. I don't know. I'm not going to go there. I mean, have a look, analyze it. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, Juice OpenGL. This is what I was looking at. There you go. Perfect. I mean, this is just a way of doing it. I'm not saying it's the way. Just thinking about Android off the top of my head, but yeah. I mean, like, again, you could do things like where you get it to render into a context, and then that context is rendered inside of Flutter, right? It's certainly not for the faint of heart, shall we say. And try it. The AI does wonders nowadays. Yeah, so this is what I was looking at earlier, by the way. So you got Stitch with apparently whatever that is. It's made like a product requirements document for me. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I took one of these screens from this one home feed.
It's just the import.
And just did an export to export Figma and pasted that in Figma, and this is what we get. So side by side, yeah, pretty good. This was actually that size. Yeah. So yeah, it's very similar, right? So that's great. But I will say that when you take the HTML and you roll it in a browser and you stretch, you get all that stretching behavior. So the dynamics are there, but it's just the export. Because if I drag this out, I'm expecting that to resize, right? If I drag this out, there should be some dynamic resizing going on here, right? Well, at least that pins to the bottom, I guess. Well, what's going on there? That's wrong.
So there's some dynamic resizing, just not what we're hoping for.
Really
oh man.
weird. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely,
yeah.
definitely, yeah.
If definitely.
Yeah, so that's just absolutely positioned, right? There's no. Right. Anyway.
That would be some awesome code right there. If definitely, yeah.
That was that's from for anyone that doesn't know, that's from what's the film? Rain Man.
It's what assert translates into.
Oh God.
I was thinking we could do some. How long we got left? We got a bit of time. We could do some like FFI if people are interested.
I would be supremely interested in some FFI, Simon.
There's at least one audience member that would be. It's fine. We do have another question. Actually, it's from Shri again. What do you know?
Go for it.
It's user KMP, which is good for native code, can be directly code. It's a bit awkward. Only thing missing is a good dependency like pub and hot reload support. You take, Simon? Interesting.
User KMP, which good for native code can be directly code.
I get that.
I don't even know what it is.
I
feel like I'm running slow today. Sorry, I'm just running on. Obviously,
I'm not parsing it either. So
Kotlin multi-platform.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's good for native code. I'm not following. Maybe you can re-ask the question. Sorry.
Sorry.
I think we've all
And
got
we
foggy
have-
brains today.
Have some more votes for FFI. So
Yeah, there's several people in chat that are interested in some FFI stuff.
so-
So that'd be interesting. Let's find a library and port it to FFI. I would
Do it
be
FFI.
super curious to see that.
So let's do some FFI. Why not?
The library that allows you to talk to Gemini. No, okay.
So I thought one of these might be a good target for something because it's not that less complex, shall we say, than dealing with one of the others. So this is a project of single file public domain libraries for C and C++.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
for example, if you want to, what is it, read a true type font, or I don't know.
Make a QR code.
Is there one in here for QR codes? That was.
Just saying it. I'm always curious about QR.
Oh, QR. That's cool.
If there was a QR code one, I'd actually vote for that.
Yeah.
Well, you can always do that natively in Dart, by the way, and so it's like,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's fair.
like it's not that complicated. Oh, do you want? Have you looked at how QR codes work?
Honestly, no. I import the pub package and move on with my life. So
Yeah, right.
I am curious about. I should do that. I should definitely look into it. I have written my own Dart barcode
here you
generator
go.
though.
This will probably. Here you go. Let's bring this up. There's a quick thing. There's just going to find a nice graphic that kind of shows off the thing, right?
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
How to
So-
QR.
If you see a QR code, that's how it's broken down, by the way.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
So these
So-
these three squares give you the orientation, right? So it gives you from three of those three squares, you can actually work out at what angle the QR code is, referenced to itself, and therefore you know how square the squares are, shall we say? And so those and the alignment that kind of gives you everything you need to do to find where all the rest of the squares are inside, right? And then, as it says here, format information, timing marks, version, spacing, and the rest is data. There is actually also, it's not explained here, data covers the error correcting code as well. You probably got an image of that here.
That part was always fascinating to me, that you could have lose like 6 out of 30 bits or something and figure out what it should have been.
I like the way that they're kind of splitting this.
Yeah,
That's
and you can
not-
dial it up and down too. Yeah.
There you go. This is actually that's actually a better. I wonder if there's a. There you go. Oh look, positional markers. Didn't alignment marker. Timing gives you version, format, and then the data area. And the data area depends on the type of information. Error correcting codes.
But to go all the way from a laser that might be scanning at a diagonal to figuring all this out, that's still amazing to me.
Is it?
Yeah, maybe I'm just amazed easily.
I mean, the thing. Well, there you go. And there's your. There's the pack for us, right?
Wow. Well, I'm amazed when my car starts. So maybe.
So the thing is, so you talk about so think of it being about the image processing side of it is one piece,
It's
right?
not that.
But
I don't want to say it's not that hard, but also this is something you could easily write natively in Dart and not need an external library for sure.
Right.
That's what people have done, and that's what the pub are. They are. The generation stuff is really simple. You're just generating square blocks on an image, right? It's actually just an array of black and whites.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I worked for a library for a while, and in the app, people wanted to be able to bring up their library card and be able to scan it. And this was very early days of Dart, and I couldn't find a really good barcode generation library, so I wrote my own implementation. I literally went on Wikipedia, found the spec for the barcode standard we were using, and then just wrote the code around that, and worked great. People loved it, but
Funny enough, that's
back in
how
my
all
day,
stuff
we
was
didn't have
made.
LLMs, right?
Yep.
I'd seen like I love what you've done there, Matt. But it's like I have to say as well that so many developers they don't get that. They don't get if there's nothing like if it's not made, then I can't do it. It's like what?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Back in the day, we used ones and zeros. And before that, we only had ones. That made it really tough.
we can code just
ones. We had
just
micro. Thousand of those to us. Yep. Anyway, now that I've distracted the whole channel again.
Honestly, Randall, I think it's like a 50-50 as to which one of us distracts the scroll more. Like, I feel like I stop and you pick up, and then when you're done, I pick up. It's like tag team keep this off topic, but
I know. So sorry. Kind of.
Yeah.
I was actually this one seemed cool, but I think this is going to be out of our remit. It's a what did it describe it as? Oh crap! I went back to it.
What's an STB?
Minecraft-esque voxel rendering engine with many more features.
Vox?
An STB sounds like something I should take an antibiotic for.
That's the whole name of this resource.
Helps rendering large-scale voxel worlds per games. In this case, one of the blocks that can with blocks that can have textures that can also have fewer shapes other than cubes. There's a video, blah blah blah. Minecraft viewer, simple app.
Minecraft.
Okay, works by creating triangle meshes. This includes converting from dense 3D arrays of blocks info into vertex mesh, vertex and fragment shaders, mesh. Although I want to, it's probably not a good target right now. Anyway.
Sounds like just writing test data is going to take you another hour.
Well, I was hoping I'd probably find something in there, but yeah.
Yep. How about big num calculations? Is there a big num thing in there? So you could do like
actually
millionth.
Maybe I should give my talk about that.
Oh, you have a talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hang on, let's see if I can find it because I actually have. I think I had code and everything.
I don't think I know that about you. That's weird that I just came up with that. All right.
Give 1 second, everyone.
All right. We'll stand by. Still waiting for questions. If you have a question, precede it by a Q colon in the chat. Most of you know that already right now, but I say it again just because that's what I do.
I submitted my talk proposals over the weekend.
Cool.
So I broke down and submitted 2. We'll see which one gets accepted.
Here we go. Found it.
Yeah.
Should I give my talk with what I can remember of it? Why not?
It's a good test.
Just off the cuff, like.
Let's see if we can. I don't think I've seen this because it wasn't recorded. This one wasn't actually recorded.
Oh,
this should be fun. Why not? I do like this topic as well.
Is this using Dart big nums or just big nums from scratch?
Well, you'll see. You'll see.
Amazing. Let's go. I'm in. Let's go.
Content. We've got actual content.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, no. Yeah, London Dev Fest 2022. That's why I gave this. So is 64-bit enough? What does it take to go beyond? My name's Tom Logan. Blah, 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 blah. There you go. Right. So we're going to go through these various things. Big num, of course. How do computers compute? How do we have limitations? So do we have limitations? How can we overcome these limitations? The challenge, and what big integers are and how they work for us, right? So I actually went through a time when I actually wanted to calculate Fibonacci numbers to stupid degrees. So here's the 160th. So the Fibonacci sequence, the people don't know, you should take the previous number, the next number, you add them together, and the one before to get the next one, blah, 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 blah. It's the golden ratio, does the blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this is the 160th Fibonacci number. And as you can see, that number, which is, hang on, I've got it here, 1 decillion, 983 nonillion, 928 octillion, 714 septillion, 61 sextillion, 919 quadrillion, 432 quadrillion, 249 trillion, 806 billion, 74 million, 196,061.
Hey,
That's how you
Simon,
read
my
the number.
audio cut out there. Can you repeat all that for us?
that was
Yeah.
the U.S. billion and not the British billion.
Pass. Anyway,
By a factor, 3 magnitude.
so the largest unsigned 64-bit value, so this is a number that you can fit into an integer in Dart, is actually 18 quintillion and some change, right? So there's no way it can represent this like number, right? Like it's just way too.
What will we do?
What will we do? This is the question. So to
I-
understand how computers compute at this scale, we should probably take a quick primer into how computers compute. And this is definitely a huge number. There you go. Sorry, I kind of skipped ahead a bit there. So binary computation, we're going to take a little bit of a little trek here back in computer time. So each binary digit represents the power of 2. So 4 plus 3 equals 7. And this is how we do that calculation. This is going to be really boring, right? But there's 4 represented in binary, and that's what it is in decimal. As you can see on the table on the right, what it represents. Then we have plus and 3. And if we add them together, it's the same as doing your standard maths, but on binary, right? So 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, so on and so forth, all the way along. We don't have to do any carrying in this case, so we get 7, right? Like this is pretty straightforward, right? You can see that in the table.
Yep.
Okay, we'll do another one here. 20 plus 13, and this time we're going to go through it. So it's 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 1 is 1, and we carry 1. 0 plus 1 is 0, plus the carry. We carry it over again. And then finally, we got that 0 plus 0 and 1 plus, which is the carry. So now we got 33, right? Standard stuff, like this is like this is standard maths, right? There's nothing magical here. Computation limits, right? So if you looked at the binary that's represented there, 8 bits, 2 to the power of 8 is 256 different numbers, or in most cases, you talk about byte, that's 256 different bytes, right? You can represent under that in address space. So it's 0 and 255, you can see all ones, right? So then we have 16 bits, and this is what you get. So these are those magical computer numbers that we keep talking about or seeing. So 16 bits, 2 to the power of 16, 65,536. Or if you're counting zeros, 535, 0 to 535, 0, the plus 1 problem, right? 64 kilobytes. This is why a lot of memory on those early computers were 64 kilobytes, because there were 16-bit processors, 16-bit address space, the maximum they could address, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to 32 bits, which is 4 billion and some change, and that's 4 gigabytes, right? So 2 to the power of 32. And then we have the 64-bit, 2 to the 64th, and that's 18, was it quintillion, as I said earlier, which is 18 exabytes in memory addressable space, right? Okay. So briefly, what we just spoke about here is what we call unsigned numbers. There's no negative numbers in this space. You can represent 0 to 255 in 8 bits. Had you negative numbers, right? So you have a thing, you have a good example here. So we do that addition that we just had earlier, right? So 255 plus 2 is going to give us 257. And if we do that carry thing that we saw earlier, what's going to happen is 1 bit's going to fall off the side, right? And that's an overflow, right? So now that 1 actually goes into the carry flag of the processor, or the overflow flag of the processor, sorry. And this is how it kind of depends on the CPU and everything else, but in generally, that's what you call an overflow, right? You can have a buffer overflow in memory, but you can have an overflow in maths, in arithmetic, and that's in the ALU, the core part of the computer, right? So there's also that same thing represented in 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, right? So what we can do, though, is if you think about the math that we just did, we can carry the bit across, right? So we can have 2 8-bit values, right? So we carry that bit to another byte. this essentially projects that second byte into a superposition of the powers of 2, right? So as you can see here, it's 2 sets of 8 bits, but we can pretend that the second byte is actually the superposition of the powers of 2 that follow, right? And lots of processors have a way of dealing with this. So they, as I said earlier, it goes into the carry flag. And if carry is performed, we can then check to see if that bit is set, and then we can then do an additional addition saying add 1 to this other value, basically, right? All right. And they actually enable, a lot of processors have this built in. So there's an add carry. There's normally a function or a operation that the CPU can do, and this is like standard, right? Okay. So and this is what you call arbitrary precision, right? The idea being that you can just keep chaining these for as long as you want. The problem, of course, is that as I said, just to be very clear about this, the CPU is operating on 8 bits. In this case, an 8-bit CPU operating 8 bits at once, right? Which still means it now has to do a second set of operations. It's not doing like an add. So let's say you had an add that was a really big number. It's not just one big number done at once. It has to do multiple additions to get to that point, right? So we haven't like sped up the CPU in any way. We haven't done anything like that. But what we've done is made our lives a lot easier, and the CPU helps us do that. So yeah, as you can see, here's multiple precision arithmetic or infinite precision arithmetic. There's like various different names for this. I just mentioned this. I've kind of just got it right here, but works across the fixed precision boundaries, but it's slower, and the numbers are only limited to the amount of available memory that you have. And so in short, if you think about what we talked about earlier, this is there are things like you see maybe in scientific news or whatever. Oh, we calculate 5 gajillion exabytes of pi or something, right? And this is where this comes from. This is the amount of memory it literally takes to hold those huge numbers, right? So for us in computing at kind of high level, what are the practical implications of this, right? It's a prime number computation used for encryption, such as TLS and HTTPS. That's why we can calculate a 256-bit key or a 1024-bit signing key or a hash or whatever, because arbitrary precision exists, right? So this is where like all these cryptocurrencies and crypto hashing, this is all comes down to this mechanism, right? And as we said earlier, scientific and mathematical field. So these are very practical uses for arbitrary precision. Back to the challenge. So if we want to calculate the largest Fibonacci number that contains 10,000 decimal digits, how do we do that, right? And how do we do that in Dart, let's say, right? And so I explained the Fibonacci sequence earlier, but here's the first 13 digits. You can see we take the sum of the previous 2 numbers. So 1 and 1 is 2, 1 and 2 is 3, 2 and 3 is 5, 3 and 5 is 8, so on and so forth. Don't have to get through them, but there's your first 13 digits. Now, we talked about the golden ratio earlier. This is how it kind of all adds up. I won't go into that. Okay, enough of all this maths, enough of all this kind of craziness. Let's get on with the actual interesting bit, and that's some code. So here is big num. This is just a thing that I invented, right? I have some code. I could probably dig it out for this. I've got it somewhere. So this only supports unsigned decimal digits. I didn't want to go kind of crazy with doing signing. So you have, I didn't explain this earlier, but you have unsigned and signed, which basically means unsigned is your positive numbers only, and signed values or signed integers have a negative number. They indicate a negative number with the highest bit of that sequence of bits that we saw in the integer value set. Anyway, so it means you get positive and negative. Anyway, right. So as you can see here, we can represent a number by a buffer of digits and how many of that buffer we've used. And we can represent, you can see here, 0 in this case would be a buffer of the byte of 0, and it's 1 in length. And a value of 1 in big num would be a buffer of 1 of the length of 1, right? It's pretty straightforward. And if it's 0, then it's 0, or it's used 1 digit and its first value is 0, right? Like this is kind of standard, right? Okay. So when we talk about here, pass from int, so we put the into a string and pass that, but it does the job right now. So this is how you might like load into our big num a value. So you might have a really long number in a string format, in the text string, right? So we're going to read in those code units, proceed through those, and essentially read each character, work out what decimal value, what integer value each character has, and store that in an array. And then just use that array for our storage. That's what we're doing here. Really simple, straightforward. We're just going right to left, right to left, left to right, because it's stored inverted, right? Anyway, and then here's an addition operator to do this. So if you want to add two numbers together, well, we can do some short order quick in the beginning. If it's 0, return the previous one, because it should 0 plus anything is what you give it. If the other one is 0, then return this. And we can read through this if you want, but practically speaking, this is essentially just going through and doing your decimal mathematics, right? That you would just do. Yeah. So you count two numbers. If it's greater than 10, then we've got a carry. So we remove the 10, carry the value over, and set that value to 1, right? I mean, it's just standard maths. I mean, I don't know what to say here. So this is some simple arbitrary precision, right? Like, and then toString is basically taking from our buffered format back to string. We're just saying, okay, add the ASCII 0 in front of our decimal digit. By the way, the $0 here is actually there's a pub package called charcode, which basically has all the character codes represented by dollar and their name or their letter, as it were. Anyway, so this essentially converted back to ASCII. We can convert that from using from charcodes back into a Dart string, basically. So if we want to calculate the first 50,000 indexes of the Fibonacci sequence, right, we can do it like this. We're going to make our cache, which is going to hold all these indexes, and each one is we're going to start with 0 and 1. We're going to create a stopwatch so we can calculate how long it takes. Here's our Fibonacci function, right? We're going to take the if you have the cache value of that position, use it. Otherwise, we take the two previous positions, use that to calculate the next one, and then loop around and iterate, basically. There's a recursive function. This is essentially kind of a recursive function, if you will. It uses a cache, so it's not really recursive. It only goes one level deep. But
if you didn't use the cache, you'd end up with an exponential growth and trying to get the
yes, it would time exponentially grows. Yeah.
Yes. Classic problem in computing Fibonacci. Without
so we got that. Cool. So in a little sort of little program, we can display every 50th entry, so we're not like blitzing our screen with so many entries, and then how long it completed in. So if we actually ran that, we would get this. Fibonacci 50,000 is 10,450 digits long, and with cutting out a huge portion of the middle of it, that's the number that you get, which is actually correct and validated. And it completed in 4.63 seconds. So 4,638 milliseconds, right? Now, I know it's obviously it's a silly thing to do, but the point here being that you can do this, right? Like, this is a thing, right? Now, so I call that big num, right? This is my own implementation. Well, funny enough, Dart comes with its own called Big Int, right? Which does all that and more. Big Int, however, is backed by the C library. The C libraries behind the scenes, right? So you're getting all this efficiency that you wouldn't get from that, right? So as you can see here, this is exactly the same code that we just saw as a demo, but using Big Int. In this case, it's 50,000 indexes going through, iterating over exactly the same piece that starts it off. We're outputting the 50th entry, and we can output it same number, but look at that time difference.
0.1.
Yeah. So rather than just some sort of my little like this is arbitrary, this is how you do it. They've got their heavily optimized version, and you can see 0.13684 seconds, right, or 136 milliseconds.
You could just spawn a BC fork, and it would probably be faster too.
So yeah, this is essentially like arbitrary precision is how it works. And if you're trying to make any use of any numbers that can get going to be bigger than 64-bit, it could be bigger than 64 bits worth, then you need to use Big Int. So that's where crypto hashing, anything like that comes in. Big Int's the key. And And you don't need to. If you go look at we can go look at it in a minute. The interface, it can convert a lot of base values. So you can all the implementations of all the crypto stuff use Begin, right? Like in Dart. Anyway, so there's the bits of implementation if you're interested, and documentation for the class, and what arbitrary precision is all about. So reference material, and that's that. And there's a QR code for some code
QR codes
and the
We
slides.
like QR codes.
I don't even know where the code is anymore, so I'm going to copy and paste. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Right, and Bitly may not even be there.
No, it's there. It's there.
All right, cool.
Hey,
It's 64-bit enough.
Yeah, and here you go. Here's the same code we just looked at, right? So the Begin implementation, the Big Num implementation, and there's the I just included these directly, right? So rather than including the type library. So pass, your add operator and toString. Simple. I mean, you can obviously do it. It's easy to add an operator for negative multiply. It's the same things you would do, but there's no point doing that when Begin does it, right? So,
yep.
And then there's the fib digits little example. There you go. So, no, it's not really like complex example of it all.
That sort of felt like that episode of Stand Up Maths with the really cool guy that does.
And there's the outputs. I put the outputs in there. There you go.
Yep. Oh wow, tiny.
So you can see progressively getting big. Progressively getting big.
And big and no.
And big and just see the numbers getting bigger and longer and longer and longer. Let me make it. Let me zoom in there.
Wow, that's tough to.
Yeah. So you can see how many digits long the numbers are.
Wow.
Right, decimal digits. That is. Giant int.
Yes, right.
Exactly. So this was actually. Oh, look at that. So there was this one. This is big int. This one completed in 57 milliseconds. I'm guessing this was compiled, with the other ones running in debug. How about big num? What did that run in? Okay, 1,700 minutes. Yeah, that seems reasonable for what it's doing.
Yep.
Not optimized, really shitty. That's what you get, right? Anyway, so there you go. I will post it in the chat. Did anyone like that? Was that interesting?
That was fantastic. I enjoyed that immensely. You were talking about cryptography and it being an application for this. And that made me wonder. I wonder if anyone has done a implementation of Bouncy Castle in Flutter Dart. And I looked it up, and the answer is yes. Yes, there has.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. So well, it's not called. It's called Pointer Castle.
Yeah.
Bouncy
so then I was like, I wonder if they're doing it like internally in Dart or whether they're referencing the C libraries for the performance increase. So I haven't dug that deep yet.
Wow, I completely forgot about that talk, until we said Big Num, and it just triggered it in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, I made a class called Big Num.
Yeah. Oh, and we have no other questions yet.
I need to sometime get around to making like a website with all of my talks in.
You really should.
Yeah.
There's a framework you should try out to do it. It's called Jasper.
Really? That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to suggest WordPress.
Oh, God. Randall, there was a section of my career where fixing small business WordPress sites was what I did. And it was miserable. Like, people do things with WordPress that are unholy abominations. Like PHP gets a bad rap simply because of WordPress. But
yes, it does. Well, that's just crazy language, but that's okay.
Before we call it, I was just like taking little hunts through, and I found a bunch of stuff.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You got a bunch of them here. Look. What was it? This is 2022 as well.
Jeez.
What's the present?
It's
Flutter versus Zombies. Yes, this was.
Oh, this was your Resident Evil port.
Yeah.
wow.
So rendering 3D, how you do that, you know. Not gonna give this dog again. No, you can watch the video. This one's recorded.
Good.
How it works.
What
What
Anything with
did
the
you
game.
mention?
These are actually these are the graphics we reverse engineered out of the original game. So I reverse engineered the original game file formats and everything, and yeah, it was that actually. It wasn't like the real one. There's I just skipped quite a few. This one was one of my first ones. When was this? I have a date on it. I don't know. Yeah, declarative navigation. How to talk to the GPS system. No, I mean how to use navigate tip on our pages. Yeah. So now this is the very first talk on Navigate 2, I think. This was like usual, like how the Pages API works and all the things you can do and how you do them. I think that's this router API. And that. I don't know if these diagrams actually on the website somewhere, on the Flutter website, but these are very helpful. Some of the different
Jokes aside, you should consolidate all these somewhere, man. And like for the ones that have been recorded and are still sitting out there, you could like embed the YouTube video, and you should totally do that. Wipeout with Flutter.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sick.
So this was actually quite fun to do. So this was again, this is covers a bit. There's a couple of bits here that are very similar to the last one, but this is all rendered inside of all these graphics here are rendered inside of Flutter, right? Actually, I've got video.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is the original opening for the game. Right, it just loaded in really bad quality. Anyway, rendering 3D. Cover some more of the previous one. And how we do that. And then some of the other ones that people done. That's actually done in Flutter, by the way. People that don't know.
It's the clock challenge. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, this is the clock challenge. Someone actually did a 3D renderer with colored highlights and everything else just to do the clock like that.
Wow.
This was done by G Skinner, and those 3D graphics on there that are running over, they're all done in same similar technique, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are limitations. You're doing 2D triangles only, so you don't get Z buffering. So you get this Z fighting, right? Because the painting algorithm is being used. And we only get a single texture atlas for painting everything because we also have to paint everything all at once. And we only get vertex lighting. But that's exactly how PlayStation games are basically rendered. You might have seen some of these artifacts on PlayStation games of the day. So for us, it doesn't make any difference. So I actually sat there and reverse engineered the entirety of the Wipeout files from their disks. So I'll show you this. It's kind of interesting. So we browsed the original media, used the hex editor, learned about the original hardware from the developers, so I could see how the data might be formatted, and then any other research anyone else had done online. So this was what was on the CD-ROM that came with Wipeout, right? So, like the file names tell you a bit more about what's in there, right? So this is like a level. So you see here, you got like scene, sky, track, library, okay, and each one has got like a CMP, a texture file, a text file, whatever else. So we can start trying to infer what these are. It turns out that INF files are actually text files left by the original developers by mistake on the disk, and really helped in reverse engineering it, because let me just bring this out anyway. What this is showing here is if we look at the track INF file, for example, you'll see here that the track INF file is 1 kilobyte in size. Sorry, this is this file here. Sorry, the track TRF file is 27, 49, 27 kilobytes in size. And if we take these counts down here and multiply them up, you end up with, funny enough, the exact same records that we expect, right? So we can start taking these numbers and actually working out what they might be. S for sections, track sections, TRS maybe. There's this many bytes in size, and we can start TRV vertexes maybe. Vertex are normally 4 bytes each, 32 bits, so 4 of those. X, Y, Z, W, we've got like 16 bytes. And funny enough, look, 27,360 bytes divided by 17,010, the vertex count that they said in the text file. Oh, well, it's 16 bytes each. Oh, well, that makes sense, right? And it's just about making these kind of assumptions of, TRF faces, perhaps, track faces. Again, the file size divided by how big they are gives us how many records, the polygon count records, right? Oh, okay. So each of our track units are 20 bytes in size. And you can continue that kind of, continue that information. If we start looking at the text data, that's what we get. This is the track face file. And you can see the patterns of data that's happening with this graphic on the left. This graphic on the left represents the byte values on the right. But you can see the pattern given off in the ASCII code as well. And there's other research already been done. So CMP file format used by Wipeout, it contains compressed images. Here's what they are. This is some work that someone else has done. So you can use that kind of previous work. There's also someone else that's been reverted in Wipeout as well. I did a demo at the time, showing it off. I think it was one time I was showing off using Pella to do it. Anyway, and there's an example of doing this with Dart as well. Yeah, these are
some dope talks, man. Oh, I remember Another World. This was one of my favorites, man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Another World is a game that was created originally on the Amiga, which is this machine, Amiga 500, by Eric Chahi. It's kind of funny because back then you didn't like what's the word? You didn't really you didn't have the games engine, right? You didn't have Unity, you didn't have like Unreal, so you had to essentially make your own. Each game was its own game engine, right? Effectively, it had to render its own pixels and do its own thing. However, when you're making like quite a big these, so this is one of the very first cinematic adventures, and to get it to run on this kind of hardware, essentially is here. This was Amiga 500 Plus was 512 mega RAM. Plus, you get 512 meg upgrade, right? That's 1 megabyte RAM total, 7 megahertz CPU. That's it, and that's running. You've got to run a game. You've got to do some pretty deep, deep optimizations, right? So, I played this as a kid, you see. So this what kind of got me interested. So, this is what we're kind of going to go through briefly. I'm going to go through this very quickly, right? These talks are up on YouTube. You just Google them, and you'll find them online. So before and after, see if this plays. Yeah. Left is the original game, and on the right is the recreation, right? So this is showing you now. What's really interesting about this is the actual graphics for the game are actually vector graphics that you see here, and that's one of the reasons why we can get the high fidelity, which is really cool. And he's one of the very only games that was made that was done using vector graphics at the time. And each frame is literally rendered by his code, CPU. This is like the introduction to the game, little cinematic introduction showing you what's going on, which is, so in this case, the actual code that's inside the game says render the Y character in this cell on the screen. so then we can render it with our own font or whatever else that we want in our recreation, right? Like,
Wow.
anyway, I won't go into it. So this is a source port, right? So the source code for the game was never originally released. There's a bunch of references that are used from other people. Obviously, people have been exploring this. In fact, Rebecca Heinemann, she's an awesome coder. She's been around for decades, and she did a lot of ports of original games. She did them back in the day to port them to new platforms. Like, it was like, okay, we've got the license, come to the license to like run Another World on Sega. Okay, I'm going to build a Sega game that ports this completely different architecture and platform. Very, very influential programmer. One of the very early female programmers, I'd say, like on the scene, and that, like, Anyway, so the original how the original game works. So that it's fully vector driven. The original game was 320 by 200, 16 colors. Planya graphics. I won't go into that right now, but and it took advantage of the fact that there's a chip inside of the Amiga called Fat Agnes, was the name given to it, and it had 2D hardware acceleration, so it could do line drawing, flood filling, and bit or blitting or bit blitting, which is basically copying of bitmap data around. But you can only do 50 field polygons per frame. There you go. That's the limitations of the game. And how can we get complex scenes with many hundreds of polygons, right? So multiple frame buffers were used, right, in the game, and so that you could you render the background into one buffer, and then you can copy the background and render the text in the next buffer, right? So the original developer, built this whole tooling platform for like editing vectors and doing his graphics. He also did this. This is kind of interesting. He videoed himself. He made a paper gun, as you can see here, like a cardboard. But he videoed himself, and the Amiga has a really interesting thing called a Genlock. It's an external adapter. I actually had one as a kid, but secondhand. It meant that you could feed video in, and the system would like replace a color of the output with the video. So this allowed you to like do tracing over images coming from VHS or from the TV or something. This is what he did. So this is called early rotoscoping. This is like we use all the time in every VFX, every movie now. But this was like, you have no idea. This was like never done, right? This is like one of the very first times that this has been done, Anyway, he built his own scripting engine and virtual machine to run it. So the entire game is actually it's 20 kilobytes in total of assembly language. That's the entire actual game. But then on top of that, he's got the entire scripting language on top. So he uses his scripting language, and you can see here it's 256 variables, 29 instructions for the entire thing, and a cooperative multitasking of 64 tasks. So he built this like little game. This is a game engine, right? But he built this, and then he can modify the script, as you can see on the right. This is the script running, by the way. This is what the script looked like. He would modify that script and press play, and then he would actually be able to run sections of the game. And he'd already built the engine, basically. So here's the Flutter, the original there. We're not recreating all the game, right? So we're not recreating the assets. We're using all the original graphics, sounds, and everything, right? Instead, so we're not recreating those. We're gonna pass the original game data byte for byte and bring it in vector information in and plot that in Flutter. Two reasons for this. One is the big portion of all that graphics that's all proprietary. That's all owned by the original author. I can't share that with anyone. That's not what I'm here for, right? So, but the question is, how do we know where to place those graphics and render them, right? So I rebuilt the virtual machine that he built in assembly language. I've done that in Dart, essentially. So create a simple, ticker to run on each of the Flutter's frames, and it will loop through each of the active tasks, continue the execution of the bytecode. When a task yields, we process all the active tasks, then we're done, right? That's literally what happens on the right-hand side here, right? That's what you're seeing. I'd say that's it. I mean, again, it's that simple, really. Like each opcode is a function that we call. Pretty straightforward stuff. So this is what it looks like. There's all the, as I said, there's only 26 instructions. That's all the instructions. So we create an array. So when we receive a byte of that instruction, that's the function that we run. And the functions will vary, right? So in case of the virtual machine, a lot of them are going to be sort of more mathematical orientated. So like, as we saw earlier, like, adding two numbers together, oring them, multiplying them, shifting them, whatever it is. And I said it deals with 256 variables. So again, you've got move, set variable, so on and so forth. Pretty straightforward. But then we can read the state of what it's essentially outputting and render those to the screen. But I'd say here's the problem. The original game used palletized graphics, right? Meaning that each pixel is represented by an index in the color palette. So as you can see here, these are the different color palettes underneath each of the images. So how do we recreate that? Yeah, sadly, we can't even do this with a new fragment program or fragment shader. We just can't supply enough data points to the shader to make that work. Currently, the only way to do this is direct pixel manipulation, is to edit an integer buffer and use decode image from pixels global function to turn that into a UI image, right? So, and then there's actually, this fix has actually gone in now. There's actually a synchronous way of doing this since this talk was done. Basically, most Mon 3D processors use display lists to render graphics. So, which is basically, as you said here, you send a series of commands to be replayed on the graphics card GPU. So when we talk about canvas in Flutter, we're gonna like say, okay, draw a line from 0, 0 to 100, 100 and make it red. That's an instruction that you send. You do that in your app, it saves it, and then sends it to the GPU, and the GPU then renders that in the pixel buffer, essentially, right? That's it's a bit more complicated than that, but that's essentially how it works, right? So we replicate this concept in the port. Each buffer has a display list, so it's each of the double buffers, or there's 4 buffers that the screen uses. And we record the state of the game. So when the game starts performing things like draw vector, we record the operation and we can replay it with Flutter later. So when the game tries to swap the buffers to display one, we're going to send that display list to the widget and have it display it. And then later I've kind of gone through this, but yeah. So anyway, also there's interesting enough in the game, there's a screen shaking effect. So the original game would have had to copy all the pixels on the display to move them around, but we actually just copy the command list and pre-append the shift vertical command to it. That tells us to sort of offset things. So this is kind of what it looks like in Dart. Also, we got music as well, which you can just use various different APIs to do that. But in this case, I used FFI to do that, to play the sound. I said earlier, the text drawing, like draw string at a position on the screen. This is the command to do that. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, can't really say much about it, right? It's pretty straightforward. We're going to skip the demo because it's on the original video, and you can download it. There is actually, I can bring up the demo if people aren't interested. I can go find the video probably. Yeah. I'm just going to kind of, there's a bunch of talks you can find on mine online. What is Flutter for an Android developer? How it works? All that kind of stuff.
What is
state restoration? State never dies.
Yeah.
People don't do this enough in Flutter right now. I'm really kind of like, it's one of those things that people don't do enough of, right? Yeah. Whenever I see Michael's name, I think of Jack Bauer for some reason, because it's just good about. But he is the Jack Bauer of the Flutter team. It's definitely been doing a lot of work on the navigation of routes and transitions. Oh my, it's one of the Wizard of Oz. That's an early one, blimey.
Yep.
Right. I see that we've
lost Matt.
We lost Matt, but I'm sure he'll come back and watch this. But this is yeah. Oh yeah, this went through like this is a bit further on to the 3D stuff, and it shows off what Philip has been doing with this game. There are code that links all these things together. That's up online, so you can go find it. Yeah, actually, let's see if this plays. This is the Wipeout game I worked on, running for the first time in Impeller before it was released. Check this out.
Yeah, I remember this.
So that's completely rendered in Flutter, using Impeller's 3D GPU functions, which is basically.
Were you getting
Same.
the path from the game data so you could tell where the curves were and stuff?
Yeah. Well, I'm getting the track data. So it's this data here for the track.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what those points were on the screen. So
Cool.
yeah. Do you remember the Blizzard that we did? That example.
Sri wanted to also point out that Toyota's got a 3D engine, Fluorite, that they're working on.
Yep.
Haven't released yet, but it's getting there. Yes.
So like as I said, like making again, like I think Flutter, we didn't do any FFI in the end. I think it's kind of fun to go through that, to be honest. But all the original PlayStation games were all those original, like that sort of era was even PlayStation 2, to be honest, ended up being like, here's some triangles and here's the metadata about them, render them. That's literally how those machines worked. There was no engine to do like rotate, like they had like a chip that would help you do the mathematics and stuff, but it's still not the same as what we have now as like a game engine, right? So all those original games implemented their own physics and things, but it also meant that what was really interesting is that each game did it themselves, which also meant that there was you had like games that did weird stretching graphics and weird things you've never seen in any other game. You know, like you could do so many cool things. And I kind of do feel that maybe we lost a bit of that when you go to like an engine like Unity or Unreal. It's great that it does all this like stuff for you, but you don't get any innovation. You get innovation at the engine level. You have to wait till the engine comes out with something new. So we've seen like this with what was the NVIDIA thing where they had like you'd move forward and it would load more detail out of your polygons or load less into the further it is away or something. I can't remember the name of the technique now. Basically, it was that you're loading
depth restrictions or whatever.
No, it's basically you upload your polygon information at different detail levels. Not just your we had bitmaps for ages, which was just like textures at different graphics level. No, but this was polygon information at different levels.
Right.
And what would happen? It would the GPU naturally loads less detail in the further distance you get. So therefore, it has to take less memory, right? And so, but as you move forward, naturally, like let's say you move forward into a scene, it would automatically load in the higher detail polygons. I can't remember what it was now, but again, this is the thing. Like this is like a Unity. I think it was like a Unity NVIDIA thing. It's like, but anyone could have done that. Like that doesn't need you. You know, you don't have to wait for them to do that, right?
Right.
So I feel like there's a bit of lack of innovation. Well, not lack of innovation, but lack of. I mean, again, this maybe comes around to like. Sorry, I'm banging my head, but this maybe comes around to the other side of this, which is you could take your time on a game, right? Like a lot of games, even the simplest games, would take 6 months, a year, whatever it is, 3 years to do some of these things, and it's like, yeah, to get the level of detail and get what people want now, it takes so many developers, and they want it so quick in a short amount of time. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna get that innovation that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always comes from the indie market. Anyways, right.
Got nothing. We're kind of done. We're kind of done time wise, and we've lost. So unless you had a live
Did anyone
coding,
have anything? It was Unreal Engine. It was Unreal Engine. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. You're more. You know, I'm glad you find it interesting.
Tell your share this with your friends.
Did Pella change any information from his talks? I mean, some of it. I don't think there's much. All the stuff I spoke about was not Impala specific, so you can just do it all right now. Nothing stops you. It's what Philip is doing with his game, right? He's also done some talks on that as well. Yeah, and just to be aware that fluorite is a thing that's coming, and they're taking advantage of the fact that again, you can use Dart and its hot restart system of generating widgets to actually essentially manage a 3D scene, and that's essentially what the Scene 3D library was for Impala. Same thing, right? But they're using what was there's a Google rendering engine they're using. I forget the name. You can go look up on the Fluorite website, tells you. Right, I think that's it then, is it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. Well, I'm glad everyone had. I'm assuming everyone had a good time or found it interesting remotely. Another week.
Yes.
Happy April 1st, I guess. I don't know how that works.
This is April, so April 8th.
Yes, and we'll see you same time next week, April 8th.
Yeah,
I'm saying happy April 1st today, but yeah.
65 and a half hours from now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay then. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a good evening. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye.